What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Batman. And today's live stream I posted it last night. I thought it is to do the Iron Man. You know the title, man. Iron Man. Batman's making Iron Man Mark IV suit. And he's about to do that in about 15 minutes. Letting y'all know that's what I'm going to do. And then I got blueprints on my table right behind the camera. So, y'all want to do it on camera or off camera? Let me know on the comments below. So, hit the like button. 3, 2, 1. Like strike. Boom, baby. Hey, you know, it's typical gamers live, so that's probably why I got it from. So, and I'm watching YouTube, and I'm talking to you guys at the same time. So you're probably hearing the background of YouTube. Let's see. Let me see how many people like on this video. Might get 1,000 subscribers. I'm at 24 subscribers now, but I'm saying when I get even 60 million subscribers, boom! And they send me a paycheck. $60,000. Sorry, I had to make that joke. $60,000. So I can have a lot of money. A lot of money. From the Civil War. It's a pretty straightforward costume. So, what y'all want to see me do today? Minecraft, work on the armor, play Legos, or what? Comment below on that one. When I end this chat. Y'all want to talk to me? Put yourselves on the chat. So like I can read comments and still do the video. You know what I'm saying, guys? Just like my boy, Bat0867. I found a jacket. This was $10. This is kind of like a nice plain canvas to start with, and then I'll add some pieces on top of it. A little crazy. But I want to kick his ass at one time. But we ain't gonna talk about this. This is not about friendship. Man. This is about me, Tony Stark. I'm Iron Man. Various panels of different shapes on here, and for that, I'm going to use. Big shout out to my wife, Aubrey. Super easy to cut. Big shout out to her dad on Facebook. I think, yeah, sure. I don't even watch it. Just listen. Actually, he does. Shout out to her. Mom. Shout out to me. Shout out to my friend Autumn. Yeah, shout out to my friends. Shout out to my girl. My wife. Beautiful. I'm the Batman. You're awesome. You got a 9-pack. I'm awesome. Awesome. Sorry, I had to laugh because I'm making a song. Alright. Let me see your comments saying I want me to let me know. Like, it's gonna be a long, double long video tonight. Part 1 is right now, but part 2 is coming up. Part 1 is right now, but part 2 is coming up later on tonight. So it's about to come off. There's a long video right now and a long video tonight. So let's get started. Let me see y'all comments. Let me see y'all live chat. Come on, people. Come on. Got my live chat on. Come on. I want to see y'all comments. Get it, people. Come on. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Oh, jeez, guys. I love y'all. Oh, crazy. Y'all crazy. Y'all crazy. That's what they dancing. Y'all jumping on y'all.
Paint is all dry. It's looking pretty good. I've got my pants and my jackets. So what I need to do
Let's see what's on blueprint.
pieces that are going to really make it pop. So there's the star, and then
oh, the test plate for the archery
so I'll just continue on with craft foam. I'll just trace these on here and then cut them out.
Oh, the shins. Yeah. Another part of the shin. All right. Let me know. Sorry, I felt me.
So I'm just going to cut that red foam and then draw on the A with the white paint pen. It's like that Neko wafer. I'm going to make this star silver. I already have some old silver spray paint, but usually it's around $3. Ooh. Finishing touches on this jacket are going to be to draw on a few of the extra details using a black marker. I'm just looking at the pictures and kind of figuring out where some of the lines should go. All right, so
that's this big box.
Woo! Tiny bit left. Like I think $2.
I'm very good.
Red pieces on the pants too. I'm just gonna cut.
The bird boy. I'm fat man. I'm the bird boy. I'm the back man. I'm joking, y'all.
Before I go too much further, I'm gonna paint all three of these brown.
Joking.
I really like the little metal buckles on this black belt, so I'm gonna attach those to this belt. Alright, I'm gonna make this little buckle piece in the back, just out of one solid piece of cardboard. Cardboard that I recently used, so I'll just draw the shapes and then paint it. The buckle is ready. I'm gonna be attaching the belts to them. I think that's ready to go. I'm gonna move on to the belt. I'm gonna make the buckle out of cardboard. Very light coat of black on here. This is 99 cents, just to darken it and make it a little dirtier. His belt has a bunch of little pouches and pockets all along the sides, so I'm going to use this fabric belt and just make a bunch of little folds, and that will come.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to make sure that's crap I did.
You'll be able to see it better.
Even.
I'm going to glue all these really flat and then glue them all to the belt. Just connect those around real quick. Okay, I'm going to move on to the gloves. I found this pair at a thrift store for $5. Now I'll cut the fingertips off, paint them brown, and then I think that's pretty much all I need to do. Almost unexpectedly morbid thing. I think he's actually wearing black boots, and then there's some long, like, spats, I guess. So you could just pick up a pair of black boots, but I'm gonna use these to extend my black boots and make them even taller. Okay, so I've got two more belts here. You cut each one of these into 3 pieces, and then glue them on here. Spray paint these all the way black, so they don't look like Edward Scissorhands. Alright, now I'm going to attempt to make this helmet, which I think is going to be the hard part. So I got this foam hat.
You don't want to know why I'm being like? Because,
this party mask, and I think it's like actually
Nice plastic case.
Between that and one more skinny belt, let's see if I can put this together. You know what? Forget Captain America. I'm just gonna. That's my costume. I'm gonna use the heat gun very lightly, which can soften this. Really working. I'm just gonna change the shape of this eye a little bit with some tape. It's just here with the tank. I think that's it. So I need to paint this blue, and then I'm going to add in a few straps. So first, I'm just going to spray paint the whole thing brown, and then I think that might be it. Okay, so the mask is dry. It was sticky for a little while, so I let it sit overnight. But I'm ready to finish this up. It's looking pretty good. I'm going to put the straps on. I just need to cut it into some pieces. Okay, on the small side, but I picked up some more Velcro. I'm gonna have these two pieces actually attach in the middle. Make a little buckle out of some galvanized steel wire. I'm gonna make this little chin piece. I'll just use some foam.
There's that one.
So just gotta add the final details. Okay, for the top, there's some little wing things. So you draw more details, and then that's it for the helmet. For a while there, I thought this helmet was not gonna work at all, but I'm pretty good about it.
Sorry, I'm being quiet. Trying to make sure that people are cut out.
American needs, and that is his shield. For an episode of Homie Movies, Ben made this awesome Captain American shield out of a trash can lid. If you want to get real DIY with it, you can do that. But I'll show you how to make one just out of a piece of cardboard. Alright, so I have this big piece of cardboard. Everyone always asks where you get your cardboard. Well, it's pieces. This is like from like a TV that I bought a while back. So here's a trick for making nice circles. Take a piece of string, use that for the radius, and then from your center point, you can draw a circle all the way around. What I'm going to do is add a little bit more curve to this by making a few slits along the outside edge so that it can kind of curve down. I don't think I need to actually glue those after all. I'm just going to tape all of them one by one, and then I should have a nice curve. Make a little handle back here. All right, time to paint. My string again and do a series of circles, and then I'll mask it off. Time for silver. Okay, got a few touch-ups I gotta do, but not bad. So I was gonna just paint this inner circle blue, but the masking kind of takes forever and it's peeling, so I'm just gonna make a separate piece of cardboard. Maybe that'll give it a little bit more dimension. I'm just gonna paint this blue. Last thing I'm going to do to the shield and to the costume is to do a very light layer of black paint just to kind of dirty it up and make it look like it's really worn. Alright, I think that's it. I think it's time to try it on. Baggy pants. Remember, I had to make these a little bit big so they could also fit Michael, who is much taller than me.
This piece.
Okay, flat sleeve, T helmet. I guess now it's time to go to the squad. Hey, we're not Ben. I'm not Ben. And we have to just had a baby, as you might know. But I'm going to reveal to you the Captain America costume. Here comes Captain America now. Whoa! All right. Wow. Yeah, with shields. All right. Fantastic. This is Michael, and he is playing Captain America in the upcoming Captain America Civil War movie. Next Tuesday. Claire plays Black Widow in that as well. You a lot better than it did by me. This is actually a lot longer than I expected. It's very detailed. The nitty of like, wait, no, this one fits with this one. And I feel like you could like yeah. This is like glued to my body. Which is ideal for crime fighting. I suppose it's. Still has a breeze coming out like yes. This very cool. Yeah. And check out the homemade movies episode on Tuesday. That's Captain America Civil War with these guys in this costume. Be sure to subscribe and let us know in the comments what costumes you want to see. And we'll all see you next year. All right, best Captain America. And Halloween and Christmas. All right, this is the homemade Captain America Civil War trailer, and this is how it is. What's up, everybody? Dustin here. As you may know, Ben and Bianca just had a baby, so I'm here again for this month's Halloween Movies episode. And it's actually been about 2.5 years since I directed my episode. Let's dig back into it. So this is a pretty complicated shoot because there's so many people in it and so many costumes. So there's a lot of planning going into who was coming and going at which time and when I had to have the costumes made. So the first costume I made for this was Captain America. You see the whole build in my episode of DIY Costume Squad week, and I give you all the details on that. But essentially, it was just finding some clothes at a thrift store and then adding some pieces of EVA foam and spray
There it
painting
is.
and make a helmet and make a new shield. Now, I made this costume a little bit bigger so it fits on our Fed Michael. Michael in Ben's homemade He-Man episode. That you make a good Captain America. Yeah, it works. It's a tight fit. It was so nice. I mean, that's a read. Aside from wearing the full Captain America costume, we do have lots of miscellaneous outfits for him, like a brown leather jackets. I just sort of pieced together from stuff like that. Official natural my actual jacket. A lot of this stuff around the office, which is kind of handy because we show at home, so it's kind of hard to find like a glass conference room and stuff like that. But here is really easy. One really cool shot of Captain America when he's hanging onto that helicopter. So we just brought a ladder out and line here. Had Michael just onto the side of the fence and yelled at people on the end of it. A helicopter wasn't quite big enough, so I made it a little bit higher just so it looks bigger in the camera. And it looks really cool when you put those together. Falcon is only in 2 shots, so I'm going to try and whip up something real quick for his costume. So I'm going to start with some shoulder pads, paint black, silver, and kind of build it out from there. Roll the Falcon, we got 8 skits in. Hey, home interviews better than, by the way. You've been in a handful of episodes. The opening shot from the trailer is pretty awesome.
All right, I'm done. That's good.
On top of the world up here. Favorite things that goes by really quick is that in the foreground, when he's walking with Captain America, you see a motorcycle in the trailer, and somebody had a bike here in the office, so we put a bike there instead. Even now, we're using it. Playing so, So Buffy's left arm is really tall, so what I'm going to do is actually just paint a whole sleeve of this jacket. I'm going out the broken arm right now, so you might know this. Action. Here we go, and action. Try again. We're really quick off this Buffy motorcycle, and actually got that. I just got Buffy on a motorcycle, attached to the wire, and then around like this. And then the very next shot, I shot that here in this room, like just hanging up a sheet, kind of waiting it, and tossing some flashlights and making it look like a motorcycle. Then instead of having a full size motorcycle, I'm just gonna do a little force perspective. Yeah, with this little guy. I'm all to it up. Six times. Tony started out. I already had.
I'm gonna make sure this is off.
Iron Man glove and just a few of the shots, so I made that glove red and silver so I can just wear that. Tony Stark has some very specific. It takes not one, but two pairs. Create the custom signature Tony Stark look. There's one shot of Tony Stark inside of the Iron Man mask. There's kind of a little orb thing there. I'm just gonna make that looking out of some in it, and that's flashlight on his magic flashlight. Black Widow fired back. Now I caught the cool part in the trailer where she's beating up the dudes, so I wanted her to flip over this dummy. I made the dummy in the past for our home Mr. and Mrs. Smith fight scene. I can't find it anywhere in my head, so I'm gonna make a new dummy. I'll start with some PVC pipe going up the spine and like some shoulders, and then I'm gonna fill it with a bunch of foam that I have. That over, and then the rest of the shots where she's beating up the guys, I did with miniatures. Holding this pen above my head. Like your old Hawkeye is our buddy Cameron, who works here in the office in the sales department, and I thought he kind of had a Hawkeye vibe, so he graciously played this role for me. There you guys, check this out. I found this at the thrift store. As is. Oh, and I just had it because I knew it would come in handy. I'm gonna make one of these gloves into Hawkeye's little special glove. I'm gonna make a bunch of arrows that kind of just stick out. You never really see from the back.
Making this easier for me.
So I'll just make a handful of those out of some dowling, and I'll just make a bunch of little feathers out of crap. This is your partner. Hawkeye flips Black Widow over, so we use the dummy for that. And put it on it. Yeah, dude, that was perfect. But look at the count using these dummies, and nobody was hurt. Abuse. This is Rachel. Hi for Scarlet Witch today. The jacket she's wearing is kind of a huge jacket that I've had for a while, but you know, you can put it on and then just kind of clip it in the back so it sits a little tighter. Just so silly. It's so silly. And then there in the shot where it looks like a plane is crashed in the background. So I went ahead and made this whole 2D facade in the background, just cut it out of cardboard, painted it like fire and an airplane, and just put it back on the road behind them. John's gonna be back here. So these planes kind of like have a handle so you can fire. Yeah. Fire. Just for that one shot, which alright, this is the first of two big group shots. We have tons of people in this. They're all the costumes laid out. Let's get ready to suit up right now. Alright, so I've got Ant-Man in just one shot, live action. So borrowed this from Ben. Made this in an episode of Homemade How To, but it's kind of in shambles right now, so I'm gonna try and just touch it up and make it camera ready. Green dot. Is this your on-screen Homemade Music Studio? This is the front, right? Yeah. We went out in the parking lot and got that group shot. Got the other big group. We got Black Widow, just kind of wearing a black jacket, and we have Iron Man. Now, I initially made the full Iron Man costume for our first Homemade Movies episode, and that was nearly 4 years ago. So basically, one by one, as I go through these pieces, I'm realizing that costume because they're completely different colors. Got the helmet. As long as I fix the helmet up, I think I'm gonna have to just kind of build the rest of this from scratch. I'll just put some gold pieces on top of your sweater.
There.
Okay. Start with a shoulder pad, really green and black, over a black hood. Then all I have to do is add some of the silver highlights, maybe just like and make your thoughts. Okay, Black Panther's mask. I'm gonna use this spandex black hood, and then I'll do the with this white wax pencil, and then I'll make some Alright, for Vision's third, I'm just gonna use this grayish blue dress shirt. I'm gonna add these details with some red tape, and then maybe a little bit of gold. Gloves are just gonna be these old leather gloves that I have. Looks like you painted them white or something, but I'm gonna paint them red. For Vision's cape, I'm gonna use some yellow fabric. I knew I had some in the attic. Funny, where I was. It was this big ball of flames that we made from Mr. and Mrs. Smith scene. I'm gonna just tear it apart, take the yellow part out, and just fluffing out the areas that I want to spread. This big group, we got everything together and put the costumes on. We actually did this live on Facebook, so if you follow us there, you might have seen it happen live. Just grab on a step ladder, so that way when we say action, you can step down a step, and it looks like. The trailer was done entirely with miniatures, so I had a lot of action figures to make. Pretty much all of these characters all over again as little G.I. characters. Some of them I was able to just buy as is, and then other ones I just kind of made from scratch using old videos I had and kind of modified them with paint and stuff. Ben made this awesome little Ant-Man for his Ant-Man trailer. He needs a little help. God. I still have many old cities and storefronts up in my attic, believe it or not. But I'm going to put together some of the city backgrounds and hopefully don't have to make up. When putting these shots together, I kind of just make whatever background pieces I need. Maybe it's like a truck or some bushes or something. And then to move the action figures around, I always attach them to coat hangers and just bend them just the right way and hot glue in there so you can just kind of control my puppets. Okay, it's time to do this gigantic Avengers shot. Both sides come together, set up a cardboard backdrop. It's 11 action figures, and they're flying towards each other and running towards each other. I'm going to be holding the camera, and I've got I can see how to moves different than everybody else.
Sorry if I'm not talking. JoJo TV. Hi.
This shot of Captain America blasting down the hallway to shoot sideways, so that we'll have an explosion behind him, and then we'll just drop a whole bunch of confetti. So basically, in the foreground,
Trying to make sure everything's kind of okay.
Hands through this hole. That's gonna be the black smoke just billowing. Back and another round on Captain America. I'm gonna phone my. Yeah, we have broken your shield. With the computer system right now. We have blue Thanks for watching. It was so much fun. You can make reviews again. Be sure to check out the DIY costume plus episode where I show you how to make the full Captain America costume and shield and watch the side by side. And let us know in the comments what other trailers and scenes you want to see Ben try and tackle. And be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you later. Hey, welcome to behind the scenes for the Thor Ragnarok trailer. You guys know Mark? I've always been kind of working behind the scenes, but now I get to actually create the show. I'm super excited about it. He's taking over the show, so you guys be nice in the comments. I'm keeping an eye on you. And we're in the brand new DIY workshop, so we're going to show you. Hey everyone, and welcome to the behind-the-scenes view of our homemade Thor Ragnarok trailer. Off the bat, we need a Thor costume. Luckily enough, costume squad exists. The Thor costume had a lot of different aspects to it. There was the tunic itself, there was knee pads, there was wrist guards. We had to make sure and build all the elements that were presented in the trailer. So I made the club, the shield, and of course the helmet with moving parts. Before we got to the gladiator scene, there were a few shots of Thor in his more traditional costume from the previous movies. We had a Thor costume for, I believe it was Avengers Age of Ultron. So in order to update that for this movie, we made a hybrid of that costume and the new one that I used. Like, throw it where it's down. Transformation. And now Joker. So in this scene, Thor is seen throwing a hammer. So I made this hammer. Everything's pretty much made out of cardboard. I wrapped the handle with the same vinyl material that I made his gladiator costume out of. I'll use some silver duct tape for the details, some extra brown for the strap so we can swing it. Computer right there. Anyway, I think we're ready to destroy all of our enemies. Making homemade movies is fun, but it quickly became apparent that one man can't do this by himself. Luckily enough, I was able to partner and tag team this whole thing. What you doing, John?
Oh, me? I'm just setting up this sheet here, a couple stands, backgrounds.
I think you got it. In this scene, we see Thor in a veritable wasteland, huge shot, big sky, a lot of elements, so we had to use force perspective. I drew out the elements that were in the scene, and we held them up close to the camera. We put the spaceships on coat hangers. We took a field trip to the park around the corner. Angela and Francesca came out and were able to move them ever so slightly in front of the camera to make them look like they were flying in the air. Yeah! Helping us out today to play Hella, we have our friend Nara. Hi. Today you'll be one of the stars of this trailer. First thing you need to do is to get some eye makeup on you. I really wanted Hella's headdress to stand out, so I made this out of cardboard. I pretty much freehanded it, used one side, copied it, made them into a headdress piece, sprayed it all black, and the end result looks pretty awesome. Yes. In this scene, Helen makes a slow motion turn towards the camera in front of a bunch of smoky mountains. So we were able to hang some bed sheets with suction cups to a glass wall and create the moon effect. Black sheets over cardboard to make it look like mountains, and then we filled it all up with smoke. Another shot with Hela, she appears to be throwing her sword into the air. John was nice enough to make the sword.
And this is
What? No.
I don't know, yeah. Well,
Are you serious?
I think I did it.
How's it make it?
I'm not kidding.
Really?
I really know.
It's a very similar setup to the other shot, so we just moved the mountains around a little bit. And then Don was up on a chair, pulling the sword away from her, creating the effect of her throwing. For the rest of the shots with Hela in them, she doesn't have her headdress on. She has striking black hair, so we used a black hairspray that was able to cover up Nara's hair. This shot, Hela is addressing the Asgardian army, and her costume is different. It has green details this time, so we took off the silver duct tape and replaced it with green. In this scene, Hela is passing through some sort of golden. We had some golden tassel laying around, so we set that up on C-stands, filled the room with smoke, and Nar walked. And that is a wrap on Hela. Was it fun?
It was really fun. My pleasure.
Okay.
Hello, anytime.
Yeah.
Oh, there is me.
We don't have today for this hammer catching scene. So Mark has painted his own thumb, and he's going to be his own hammer in the shot. So we have a fishing line attached to the end, and Angela is going to be pulling it from that. And
most people aren't worthy enough to even hold Thor's hammer, but Hela destroys it. For this scene, we used set the hammer up on a C-stand so it wouldn't move, and we went frame by frame, drawing cracks a little bit longer each time, and the lightning elements are made out of pipe back together, and then Angela and myself pulled it apart. And John flashed a flashlight into the camera to create a visual mask. We were supposed to get the hammer exploding in one shot. That didn't happen. So we had to put it back together a few times using scotch tape. The shot took a few different tries, but in the end, I think it was playing skirts today. We have our friend Derek. You might recognize Derek from Civil War. We motivation for this character. We want things that first part of the costume, followed by many more pieces. The shirt is so small though. I wanted to do a back and I realized I really needed to get it in. The rest of Scourge's outfit is made of cardboard. I cut out the skirt and the chest piece and then sprayed them brown using marker. Scourge is bald. Our friend Derek is not. So we put a bald cap on him and added the two hair elements using just behind me, we have this super awesome homemade movie sign that Dustin made. We made it out of cardboard, spray painted it, looks amazing. It also provided a perfect canvas so we could hang a sheet on the inside. And then we had Derek sit on a milk crate and hold his gun. In this shot, Derek is shooting some big guns with some big muzzle flares. I made them physically out of foam, and we shot the scene twice. Once without, and in the editing process, we take one frame of the shot with muzzle flares, and we place them in when you see the muzzle flares. This is Amari. He's going to be helping us out with a couple shots today. So, we're going to have some fun, man. We just got to dress you up at the time. All right. You better recognize it. So, in this shot, I get my head cut off, which is the first. These little green globules of blood fly from the head after it's decapitated. I have these pieces of foam that I'm going to throw. Coming on board to play Loki is a face that everybody knows and loves, Dustin McLean. Beach, awesome shoulder pads. I'm going to spray some in green, some in black, some in brown, and the back goes together using cardboard. I'm using a mustache and beard as your hair. The Loki helmet is essentially a two-dimensional helmet made out of cardboard. I sprayed it with gold, added some details with duct tape, and then bent the horns back to make it look like they were much larger. In this shot, Loki flips some knives and catches them in his hand. I made the knives out of cardboard, and I added pennies to the end so that they were weighted and easier to make it one of the more expensive. There's a character in Loki's shot in the background for this really cool headpiece. Make it out of some fabric that was used for Sub-Zero costume back in War Combat. So here we have our friend Oddly, who will be playing the goblin character in the background of Loki's shot. Oh, there he is. Styled appropriately. Makeup today was brought to you by Chef. You may have noticed our new DIY workspace is in the Mashable office. So we're able to grab some people from the office and take them to the ramp that goes along the side of the building. Which it was a perfect venue for the Loki. I made some giant snakes out of cardboard. We set them up on some C-stands. So the shortest shot in the entire trailer probably required the most amount of work. I had to make face masks, armor pieces, swords, shields, spears, and we had 4 people come and help us out. We tried to fill up as much of the frame as possible, but if you blink, I like your shield. You know. Oh, Asgard guards in the way. And then it was time for miniatures, my favorite part. The first miniature I made was a giant scene of Asgard. So I made the castle out of cardboard, the city out of Lego pieces. I used blankets for the mountains and a coat hanger for the bridge. I need to find a girl. Yeah, shorts.
Excuse me, guys. I'll be right back.
Ash is falling through the air. Some mountains of tinfoil. I'm going to spray black. I made the spaceship out of cardboard, sprayed it yellow, and then added the details with red duct tape. I had some finger lights that I put in the back of it, which looked really, really cool, and then I made the background out of sheets. Of all the miniatures I made, the largest one by far was the Gladiator Arena. It had to be big. We had to be different scenes within this one space. So I constructed the whole arena out of cardboard. I sprayed the entire thing with gray primer. I added red details using duct tape. I had crowd shots that I printed out from the internet that I put in the space where the fans go, and have an arena. I couldn't do all the Thor, so we needed a miniature. So I took a G.I. Joe and gave him a Thor. You really don't ever see mini Thor from the front. So, anyways. So funny. We attached wires to our miniatures so that we could move them around. And we got some help using flashlights to simulate the spotlights. One shot, we made an even tinier version of Hulk and Thor out of paper. Then it was on to the life-size arena shots. In order to get the background for Thor's shots, I put up a bunch of bed sheets and then used red duct tape to make the details. So, I have my costume that I made for Costume Squad, rocking the whole thing. There's a really quick moving shot of Thor in the arena where he's flipping his little helmet wings down. In order to create this effect, we used rear projection, which is actually an old Hollywood technique where we shot part of the interior of the arena, put it on a television, and then I stood in front of the television and moved to simulate the camera. We're lucky enough to have a humongous giant TV here in the office. If you wanted to recreate this shot, you can stand closer to a smaller TV or use a projector. In my favorite shot of the entire trailer, the Hulk busts through a gate going into the arena. I built the whole thing out of cardboard, added some details with some masking tape. I made two different big giant doors. One is made out of foam so that the Hulk can destroy it. In case we don't get it in one shot, I made a cardboard one that we can use. If you go like this, for big teeth. Playing the Hulk today, we have our lovely John Tomlinson. You ready for this? Pardon? You scared the crap out of him. Well, his personality is Hulk size. His body was a bit smaller than we needed it to be. So we put on this really cool muscle shirt, and we put on a green turtleneck over that, which really made him look a lot larger. I made some armor out of cardboard. I made the helmet out of an old bike helmet and a broom that we got from the dollar store. The Hulk's weapons were primarily made out of cardboard. He has an axe, but also a hammer. I used some Tupperware and different pieces I had laying around the office. In this shot, you have two doors, while Avi was moving the up door, and then Francesca threw confetti at the camera to simulate the slurs. Action! Supposed to get it in one take, but luckily enough, he couldn't break it, so we got a chance. I thought it was Holland Monks, my favorite medieval rock band. What'd you do? Okay, you're gonna go to battle first. I'm gonna watch you from back there. Once caught a fish. Oh, those aren't sunglasses. And then thanks for watching the behind the scenes. Make sure you check out the links below for our homemade trailer and the side-by-side comparison. We'd love to hear what you thought, so please leave your comments in the comment section. We plan on bringing you a lot more of these, so subscribe to Thanks for watching our Justice. This is how we made it. Welcome everybody to our homemade Justice League trailer. This trailer had everything. Back to form for homemade movies. We got superheroes, we got explosions, we got things flying, we got demons with wings. I don't know what didn't this trailer. Joining us today to play Diana / Wonder Woman is our good friend R. You might recognize now from our Thor trailer.
Hello.
Yeah.
Is that joke hasn't been going out?
Not on this show. Wonder Woman's costume. Originally made for Costume Squad, and then used again in the Wonder Woman trailer. We made a few minor modifications to the costume. I added an armband, a new headband. We gave her a lasso.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The scene where Wonder Woman does her super awesome kick and trips up one of the bad guys, we had to cut it into two different parts. One of them was miniature, and then the second part life size. To make the Wonder Woman miniature, I actually used another female superhero, Black Widow, and then attached all of her clothes on top of that. John made this really cool bank scene out of cardboard, and then I added another 2D element to it to make it look like there was a holiday. We staged everybody on wires. I was on Wonder Woman, Angela was on the bad guy, and then we matched that with a light flash shot of Nara whipping her. Casting Batman wasn't easy to do. We knew we needed somebody with a big personality and just Clint Cage fit the bill. You probably recognize his voice from many sitcoms, very James. Well, today you need your Batman voice. All right, have that ready. Bale or West?
Well, that's an interesting one. Yes, yeah.
So the Batman outfit was probably my favorite one to make for this particular trailer.
Thanks.
I'm guessing. The rest of the costume consisted of black long sleeve shirt, some long black pants, and a long piece of black fabric that I turned into a cape.
That's awesome.
Very Batman. There's a series of shots in this trailer that all follow one specific action sequence that seems to take place in a Gotham City sewer. We had to do this with a mixture of miniatures and life size. We started out with a 2D version of this Bat vehicle. Makes me happy. Oh. The miniature Batman figure was probably the most fun to make. Everything is painted black except his base part, so I masked that off with blue tape and sprayed everything else. Threw a wire on him and we sent him through the air. When he lands inside the bat vehicle, that's when we switch over to life side. In order to make this happen, John built a 2D cockpit out of cardboard, sprayed it black. I added a control panel to that. Driving the bat. Signal on. We had Clint on a roller racer doing a cool spin move, and the camera does a quick tilt to complete the effect. Once he's in the cockpit, you have a straight-on shot of Batman's face. John made the back of his seat using cardboard, and then cut out 2 holes with lights behind them, simulating the lights that we see in the shot. My turn. My turn. My turn. Then we go back to the miniature world. I got the bad guy and a wire, and then I also have some pieces of pipe cleaner that I put on another wire to act as a lead. Batman is ready to. Flash's costume was probably the simplest of all the costumes. It's just a full body red spandex suit. I made a face mask out of an old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles mask that we had laying around. I added the little logo. I spray painted some elbow and knee pads to give it a little more definition. I only have one question for whoever's going to play Flash. Yeah. Can you fit into these? Alright, let's see you go from there to over there instantaneously. Yeah. Wow. You're going to take this piece of plastic and put it in front of the camera with the blue light underneath it. While I move it around like this. Now we're talking, dude. There's a scene where the Flash is zipping around the room dodging bullets. So we had John in full Flash costume. Gohan to dress up as our silver bad guy, which is basically a costume made up of tinfoil and a silver bike helmet. And then he got to hold this really cool, awesome, super speed gun. Hey, how's that? That looks awesome. To get this one shot, we actually shot it in 4 different shots. John goes to each different position in the room that you can clearly see him in, but in between each shot, we flash the camera with a giant light. When you cut it together, it looks like he's zipping around. Once the Flash positions himself behind the silver bad guy, pushes him through a door. In order to make that, we had to do a miniature, just like door, and then attach the big bad guy to a fishing line that we actually put through the opposite wall, so when you pull him, he goes all the way to the other side. Playing Cyborg, we got our really good friend Amari. We appreciate all that he did for us because even though he was only in 2 shots, they were definitely 2 of the most annoying and uncomfortable shots. There's a shot of Cyborg where it's body and also a cutout of the ground behind him that we were able to spin. It doesn't hurt my neck. And then Amari had to stick his head through this cardboard while wearing a mask and another hole. And when you play it in reverse, the mask forms on his face. Love it. Thank you so much. Let me get this thing off. The other shot we needed Amari for was a football scene. John really took the ball and ran with this one. So we got this sweet beauty here. We also have this bad boy, which is the foam patch from that, and make ourselves a football player. Get it! Get it! I was a defender, and I was either a camera person or a coach. You can't really tell what that person is in the background.
Always wanted to get coached. Pretty good characters, Wonder Woman and the coach of a football team.
Oh yeah, I'm very versatile as an actress.
Yeah. And all right, we got it. Nice. Hey, yeah, that's right.
In the shot where Cyborg is shooting a giant blue plasma ball, we had some really cool effects. John actually drilled a hole through Cyborg's head, and we put a laser pointer in the back of the head to make his glowing red eye. In order to get the blue plasma, we balled up some saran wrap that I had sprayed blue, and when you pull them apart, it made it explode. When we cast Aquaman, we needed to find somebody with a lot of stage presence, somebody who really commands the screen when he's on it. When we couldn't find anybody like that, I ended up Aquaman's costume consists of a sweet pair of shoulder pads that I put some fish scales on and painted some gold pieces all around it. He's got long hair, long, sweet Axl Rose hair that I had to use a wig for. It's not really me. I figured Aquaman's a swimmer, so I gave him some Daisy Dukes. Hopefully that helps him out. There's a shot of a giant tidal wave coming after Aquaman, and he stops it. To make the tidal wave, I attached 3 different pieces of tinfoil together, sprayed them with some blue and some white, and pushed the whole thing towards Aquaman. There's a hole in the ground right in front of Aquaman, so that we could shine a light through it once it hit. And then we moved on to the life size, which is a shot of me getting blasted in the face. Oh, that went straight in my mouth.
Must have recorded. Yeah, we're still in. Sorry, I'm back. It took me so long. Okay.
One shot most lane in this trailer. We got our friend Allison to help out with this. We put on a red wig. She had her own coat, which was awesome. I made a 2D purse for her to wear. You dropped your purse? Yeah. We went outside, banged it out real quick. And wait. So it's this really awesome sequence where Aquaman jumps onto Batman's Batmobile, exchanges some cool glances, and then Aquaman jumps up, gets caught up by a bunch of winged creatures, and the camera zooms all the way to the other side because he gets flown away. Most of the sequence is in miniature form, so I had to make a Batmobile. I used a mouthwash bottle, some containers that I got from the dollar store, used some markers, guns, cardboard. I used a bunch of different things. Spray painted it all black, and I put some tiny little flashlights on the front to act as that. John made some big buildings out of cardboard to be in the background, and we shot the scene in reverse with Aquaman jumping off the Batmobile at the end of the shot when the camera. The life-size portion of the shot, we actually had to use a real car. Buddy Scott here in the office has a sweet Mustang, a cool interior, and John made a gun out of a large and I stepped up on a stepladder to make it look like I was sitting on the side of the bed. When we go back to minis from the life-size shot, we are now seeing Cyborg within the shot. Attached Cyborg with Aquaman is on it with Velcro. He can stand on his own. Once John slides the card towards me, I grab Aquaman. I also have the 3 winged guys in this hand, so I connect them together and then walk over to the other side of the shot as John follows me with the camera. That's it. For the final sequence in the trailer, we shot it all life-size. It's Batman talking to Commissioner Gordon. We got Wonder Woman in the background, and then Aquaman comes up singing out of the water. John was nice enough to step in as our Commissioner Gordon, donning his awesome fake gray mustache and a cool hat. To create this whole scene, we just blacked out everything with a bunch of big black curtains and then used Christmas lights to simulate the city lights that you see in the background. Wow, Justice Leaguers hug. So look at you guys back out. We needed an actor who would work for free. Pretty cheap. Pretty cheap. A little less movement, John, but I like the enthusiasm. Action. Oh yeah, he's doing the swim, baby. Pumping it up. Underwater. March Aquafish Man. Aquabrook. And thanks for watching our behind the scenes. Make sure you check out the links below for the side-by-side comparison and the original. We here at Homemade Movies will see you next month. Fucking away! welcome to behind the scenes for the homemade Thor Ragnarok trailer. You guys know Mark. He's been on the show for a couple years now. You started on the homemade dress world.
That was my first. Many since then. I've always been kind of working behind the scenes, but now I get to actually create the show, and I'm super excited about it.
Taking over the show, so you guys be nice in the comments. I'm gonna keep an eye on you. And we're in the brand new DIY workshop, so we're gonna show you.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the behind-the-scenes view of our homemade Thor Ragnarok trailer. Right off the bat, we needed a Thor costume. Luckily enough, costume squad exists. The Thor costume had a lot of different aspects to it. There was the tunic itself, there was knee pads, there was wrist guards. We had to make sure and build all the elements that were presented in the trailer. So I made the club, the shield, and of course the helmet with moving parts. Before we got to the gladiator scene, there were a few shots of Thor in his more traditional costume from the previous movies. We had a Thor costume for, I believe it was Avengers Age of Ultron. So in order to update that for this movie, we made a hybrid of that costume and the new one that I use the parts we like, throw away the parts we don't. Transformation. And now Joker. So in this scene, Thor is seen throwing a hammer. So I made this hammer. Everything's pretty much made out of cardboard. The handle with the same vinyl material that I'll use some silver duct tape for the details, some extra brown for the strap so we can sling it. Get it right there. Anyway, we're ready to destroy all our enemies. Making homemade movies is fun, but it quickly became apparent that one man can't do this by himself. Luckily enough, and
This here stands to be the background. So be sure to turn on that door.
I think you got it. I hope so.
In this scene, we see Thor in a veritable wasteland, huge shot, big sky, a lot of elements, so we had to use force perspective. I drew out the elements that were in the scene, and we held them up close to the camera. We put the spaceships on coat hangers. We took a field trip to the park around the corner. Angela and Francesca came out and were able to move them ever so slightly in front of the camera to make them look like they were flying in the air. Helping us out today to play Hela, we have our friend Nar. Hi, Nar.
Hi.
Today you will be one of the stars of this trailer.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm Thor, so I guess with real great friends. First thing we need to do is to get some eye makeup on you. I really wanted Hela to stand out, so I made all the elements out of cardboard. I pretty much freehanded it, used one side, copied it, made them into a headdress piece, sprayed it all black, and end result was pretty good. Awesome. Yes. In this scene, Helen makes a slow motion turn towards the camera in front of a bunch of smoky mountains. So we were able to hang some bed sheets with suction cups to a glass wall and create the moon effect. Black sheets over cardboard to make it look like mountains, and we filled it all up with smoke. Another shot with Hela, she appears to be throwing her sword into the air. John was nice enough to make the sword.
And this is the first time.
What? No.
I don't know. Yeah, which one?
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's serious.
I think I did it. How's it make it feel?
I'm not kidding.
Really?
I really did work.
It's a very similar setup to the other shot, so we just moved the mountains around a little bit. And then John was up on a chair, pulling the sword away from her, creating the effect of her throwing. For the rest of the shots with Hela in them, she doesn't have her headdress on. She has striking black hair, so we used a black hairspray that was able to cover up Nar's brown. This shot, Hela is addressing the Asgardian army, and her costume is different. It has green details. So we took off the silver duct tape and replaced it with green duct tape. In this scene, Hela is passing through some sort of golden portal. We had some golden tassel laying around, so we set that up on C-stands, filled the room with smoke, and then I walked. And that is a wrap on Hella. Was it fun?
It was really fun. My pleasure.
Okay.
Hell, anytime.
Yeah.
They're messing me up.
We don't have an art today for this hammer catching scene. So Mark has painted his own thumb, and he's going to be catching his own hammer in the shop. So we have a fishing line attached to the end.
With that piece done.
Pretty fast. Most people aren't worthy enough to even hold Thor's hammer, so Hella destroyed it. For this game, stop motion. Set the hammer up on a C-stand so that it wouldn't move, and we went frame by frame, drawing cracks a little bit longer each time, and the lightning elements are made out of pipe. To make the hammer explode, I actually cut it into 3 different pieces. We taped it back together, and then Ayla and myself pulled it apart. And John flashed a flashlight into the camera to create a big. The shot took a few different tries, but in the end, I think it was worth it. Playing Scourge today, we have our friend Derek. You may recognize Derek from Civil War. Your motivation for this character. You want to. Shooting is a good way to make those things dead. Where are you? First part of the costume. I'll many more pieces.
The shirt's so small though, because I wore this to the Black Panther shoot, and I realized I really need to get it.
The rest of Scourge's outfit is made of cardboard. I cut out the skirt and the chest piece and then sprayed them brown using marker for the Scourge is bald. Our friend Derek is not. So we put a bald cap on him and added the 2 hair elements using What is behind me, we have this super awesome homemade movie sign that Dustin made. We made it out of cardboard, spray painted it, looks amazing. It also provided a perfect canvas so we could shoot on for the background. I hung up some clouds on the sheet that I spray painted to make it look like the sunset, and then we had Derek sit on a milk crate. In the shot, Derek is shooting some big guns with some big muzzle flares. I made them physically out of foam, and we shot the scene twice, once without and once with the flares on the guns. In the editing process, we take one frame of the shot with muzzle flares, and we place them in when you see the muzzle flares in the trailer. This is Amari. He's going to be helping us out with a couple shots today. So, we're going to have some fun, man. We're just going to dress you up head to toe. Perfect. All right. You going to recognize me? So, this shot, I get my head cut off, which is the first scene. Those little green globules of blood fly from the head after it's decapitated. So I have these pieces of foam that I'm going to throw. Coming on board to play Loki is a face that everybody knows and loves, Justin McLean, my girlfriend loves. Got this cool chest piece, awesome shoulder pads. I'm going to spray some green, some black, some brown, and the back clips together using cardboard. A mustache and beard, that is your hair. Nice. The Loki helmet is essentially a 2-dimensional helmet made out of cardboard. Sprayed with gold, added some details with duct tape, and then bent the horns back to make it look like they were much larger than. In this shot, Loki flips some knives and catches them in his hands. I made the knives out of cardboard. I added pennies to the end so that they were weighted and easy, thus making it one of the more expensive props that we've ever made on Hollywood. There's a character in Loki's shot in the background who has this really cool headpiece, and they make it out of some of the fabric that was used for Sub-Zero's costume back in Mortal Kombat. So here we have our friend Ahmed, who will be playing the Goblin character in the background of Loki's shot. Oh, there he is. Today was brought to you by Shark. As you may have noticed, our new DIY workspace is in the Nashville office. So we're able to grab some people from the office and take them to the ramp that goes along the side of the building, which leads up to the parking lot. It was a perfect venue for the Loki shot. I made some giant snakes out of cardboard. We set them up on some C-stands, and there you go. So the shot in entire trailer probably required the most amount of work. I had to make face masks, armor pieces, swords, shields, spears, and we had 4 people come and help us out. We tried to fill up as much of the frame as possible.
It's all done.
And then it was time for miniatures, my favorite part. The first miniature I made was a giant scene of Asgard. So I made the castle out of cardboard, the city out of Lego pieces. I used blankets for the mountains and a coat for the
Shiny fun girl. In Ninja World, there's shorts and
I'm gonna go with this guy. I made the spaceship out of cardboard, gray yellow, and then added the details with red duct tape. I had some finger lights that I put in the back of it. Cool, and then I made the background out of sheets. All the miniatures I made, the largest one by far was the theater. To be big, we had to be able to fit a lot of different scenes within this one space. I constructed the whole arena out of cardboard. I sprayed the entire thing with gray primer. I added red details using duct tape. I had crowd shots that I printed out from the internet that I put in the space where the fans go, and have an arena. I couldn't do all the Thor shots. We needed a miniature. So I took a G.I. Joe and gave him a Thor costume. This is a mustachio of Thor. You really don't ever see mini Thor from the front, so.
I'm so playing with this stuff.
We attached wires to our miniatures so that we could move them around, and we got some help using flashlights to simulate the stop. For one shot, we made an even tinier version of Hulk and Thor out of paint. That was on the life-size arena shots. In order to get the background for Thor shots, I put up a bunch of bed sheets and then used red duct tape to make the details. So, I have my costume that I made for Costume Squad, rocking the whole thing. There's a really quick moving shot of Thor in the arena where he's flipping his little helmet wings down. In order to create this effect, we used rear projection, which is actually an old Hollywood technique where we shot part of the interior of the arena, put it on a television, and then I stood in front of the television and moved. We're lucky enough to have a humongous giant TV here in the office. If you wanted to recreate this shot, you could stand closer to a smaller TV or use a projector. And my favorite shot of the entire trailer, the Hulk busts through a gate going into the arena. I built the whole thing out of cardboard, added some details with some masking tape. I made 2 different big giant doors. One is made out of foam so that the Hulk can destroy it. In case we don't get it in one shot, I made a cardboard one that we and if you can move this. For Big T. Playing the Hulk today, we have our lovely John Tomlinson. You ready for this? All right. You scared the crap out of him. Well, his personality is Hulk size. His body was a bit smaller than we needed it to be. So we put on this really cool muscle shirt, and we put on a green turtleneck over that, which really made him look a lot larger. I made some armor out of cardboard. I made the helmet out of an old bike helmet and a broom that we got from the dollar store. The whole Hulk's weapons were primarily made out of cardboard. He has an axe, but also a hammer. I used some Tupperware and different pieces laying around the house. In this shot, you have two doors. One is moving up, one is moving out. So Angela was moving the outdoor while Avi was moving the up door, and then Francesca threw confetti at the camera to simulate the sparks. Action! Supposed to get it in one take, but luckily enough, he couldn't break. Thought it was Hall and Monks, my favorite medieval rock band. Did you pick up that book? Okay, you're gonna go to battle first, and I'm gonna watch you from. Fish. Oh, those aren't sunglasses. Thanks for watching the behind the scenes. Make sure you check out the links below for our comment section. We plan on bringing you a lot more of these, so thanks. Hey, welcome to the cardboard and hot DIY costume. Hey, welcome to the show. I'm Dustin, and I'm going to be making a DIY Spider-Man suit today. You guys have been asking for one in the comment. Now, we've made Spider-Man in the past for homemade movies. We made one a few years ago for the Amazing Spider-Man 2, and Ben just recently did one for his homemade movies episode. I'm going to walk you through the whole process and show you how to make this using regular clothes and everyday materials. So let's take a look at the costume. So you got the red and blue elements. I'll be able to piece some different types of fabric together, and then of course draw all the lines on here with some markers. So it looks like he almost has some little gadgets attached to the side, and then he has some kind of cool bracelets. Web shooters. Got the mask, of course, and like the really thick eyes. And of course, you've got the spider emblem on the chest and on the back. Other than that, it's going to be just a lot of piecing together the red and blue fabric and then drawing all the lines on. There are a few different ways you can use this. Now, my first idea was to use these full body spandex suits, but these are like $35 a piece. They're really, really cool. But then it occurred to me that if you're going to spend money buying suits, you should probably just buy a Spider-Man costume. So instead of doing that, I'm going to show you how to make this costume totally DIY, just using regular clothes, regular shirts, regular pants, and I'm going to see if I can make this thing totally DIY. I'm going to start by making the mask. And now this is something I did buy online, and it's just a red spandex mask. And this was $10 when I did this for my movie. This cool styrofoam mannequin head that I bought at the craft store. That comes pretty handy. Now I'm going to add the eyes. I got the basic shapes drawn out. What I'm going to try to do here is mask off the shape of the white part and then spray paint it white. Ready for paint. All right, so I'm going to use white spray paint. This costs around $4, but let's be honest, I'm going to use about 10 cents worth. Okay, the paint is dry. Let's take off the masking tape and see what we got. Thanks. That's the white head. Obviously, there's a thick black head. That wraps on. This big sheet is 99 cents. I'm going to draw the shape out on this paper first.
More pieces. Cut up.
Okay, pretty good. The next step is just drawing all the lines. I'm just going to use a black marker. Okay,
that is it. That's the finished Spider-Man mask. Alright, so moving on to the rest of the suit. I have two different shirts that I'm going to mix together. I've got this red one, 40 zip up. This was $10. Very Spider-Man-y, I would say. And I've also got this blue one. This was $6. This Spider-Man. The red one. The blue one will be revealed underneath. I'm going to use the charcoal to drop. I'm going to lay it on the table in this mat. Draw all the shapes. Now I'm just going to cut this out. That's good. Now you put this on top of the blue shirt. Take this in place a little bit just to help. Okay, so now I'm going to glue the red fabric onto the blue fabric with some hot glue. Before I glue this last back part, this is all a little bit baggy on me, so I'm going to cut a slit down the back and then tighten it up, glue it down so it's a nice tight Spider-Man fit. Okay, cool. All the outside edges are glued together, but I'm going to flip it inside out and just reinforce the inside seams. Some glue on Before I draw all the webs on there, I'm going to make a little spider emblem so I can position that's going to go. So I'll use some more foam for that. Body of the spider, I'm going to draw some Sharpie while I take a walk. Okay, that's a lot of lines. Belt lines. That was all red. Now I got a blue. Okay, so those are blue details. Now I think I'm gonna make the red spider on one side of this pattern. So when I trace it, I can flip it over and make sure it's really symmetrical. I'm gonna trace this pattern onto some craft foam. So I'm gonna spray paint this red with some paint I picked up for about $3. Start with a coat of gray primer. Okay, looking good. All right, before I move on, I decided I'd go ahead and make these spider legs out of foam. That real quick. Okay, so we've got these little gadgets on the side here. Looks like maybe refill cartridges for web shooters. That's my guess. I'm gonna make those out of some black foam and attach them. So it's got these little cartridge things on there. So I'm going to just use some straws. I already had some straws, but they're cheap. So I'm going to cut them down to size and then leave the tips red, make the inside silver, and then glue them on. Okay, so this is ready for paint. I'm going to use some metallic spray paint, which is around $5. Okay. All right, I'm going to move on to pants. I found some blue pants at the thrift store for $6. Pretty much just the right shade of blue. That's one of the main things to keep in mind when you're
Alright, see you later.
stores is the match. So first of all, there's a couple shiny parts on these pants. I'm going to cover those up with some blue marker. These are blue, so I'm going to cut a slit down the back and tighten up a bit and glue it together. Alright, so now I gotta drop the lines and the details on it. I'm just eyeballing all of this, just like the shirt, looking at some reference pictures and kind of making it up as I go along. Okay, moving on to the feet. It basically looks like he's just wearing socks. So I picked up some socks for $3. They're athletic socks. I'm just going to be drawing the webs on them. There's kind of a logo on here, so I'm going to cover that up with red marker. Top rim, there's like a black edge. I'm going to just spray paint the top of this and then kind of fold it over.
Scranton made Joe Biden who he is. That's stuck with him. We need a president on the side of workers, not Wall Street. Joe Biden. He'll unite us for a better America.
Make the shape we want. And so now I'm just going to draw the rest of the webs on here. Okay, one final thing in this costume has the web shooters, which I'm going to attach to some gloves. So I searched everywhere for some red gloves, but it is the middle of summer right now. So I managed to find one at a thrift store. They sold it to me for 49 cents, but I need two. Luckily, I had some older used ones that are a little bit funky, but I'm going to use these instead. Same idea though, it's just drawing the pattern on with for the web shooters themselves. I'm going to make those out of crap foam and then just attach it right to the gloves. So I'll look at the picture and kind of estimate what the shape is. So what I think I'm going to do is just glue this right onto the glove, but if it's too tight, I won't be able to get my hand in. So I found this old jar of pennies, because I'm an old man. I'm going to stretch it out, glue it on, and then I hope that makes it in and jig.
Hold on, guys. Yeah, how do you reach those?
I'm
1,000?
just going to add a few more little details on here, and that's it. Okay, I think that is it. It's time to try the whole thing on. Right. Hey, I feel very Spider-Man-like. This is nice. This is actually pretty comfortable. Not a whole lot of spray paint here. Just some stretchy clothes. And one of the bonuses here is that I've got pockets. So that's always handy when you're at the convention or at the party. I'm not sure how well I'd be able to see out of the spray paint, but not bad. I can kind of see what's happening. Let's see if I can get out of this thing. Yeah, and I like that it has a removable hood. That's the other bonus about not using those full body suits. So in the end, I only ended up spending $38 plus a tiny bit of spray paint. So let's just call it $40 for the whole thing. That's not bad. Things I made, this is probably the most. If you want some more hot Spidey action, be sure to watch Ben's Homemade Movies episode of Spider-Man Homecoming. That's really awesome. I play Tony Stark in it. And that's it. Let us know in the comments what other DIY costumes you want to see us try to make. Be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. I'm out of here. Hey, welcome to the behind the scenes for Homemade Spider-Man Homecoming. Action, guys. So we Spider-Man a couple times on homemade movies. This one is a little bit different, so I wanted to update the suit and make a new one. So I have a red shirt and a blue long sleeve shirt. Using a piece of charcoal, I sketched out the red shapes onto the red shirt. I'm going to cut those pieces out, and then I'm going to put that over the blue shirt, so it creates a layer. Now that I've got the two layers on the shirt, I'm going to draw all the details on with a Sharpie. Then I got some blue leggings. It's going to be very, very form-fitting.
We'll see.
Now we do have the mask that we made, and it looks pretty good. It doesn't look like it's been updated, so I'm going to reuse this so I don't have to make another one. And then I got some red gloves and some red socks at a 99-cent store. All right, Brian, don't break your neck. Nice. That is some good car jumping.
Oh, great. Up there.
Okay, the silly string is not really working, so we're going to try some paper on wire. Play Tony Stark, of course, is homemade movies. Tony Stark, Justin McLean. So we went down to Mashable to shoot in the office there. Now Dustin, of course, has the Iron Man suit that he's made, so he's going to be wearing part of that. And then there's a War Machine in the background, and Dustin already made these for his Civil War trailer that he did. And it's War Machine. And Ryan is totally blind. I'll help you. Skeeter Parker's. And then we're going to shoot some stuff in my car, and it's going to be the daytime, so I'm going to cover up the windows with some black sheets and make it work. For a road trip, it's very windy, so we've got John and Avi over there helping out. Maybe we can get that time real quick. It's also very hot in the car. And the ATM scene was the one that I was really looking forward to making, and the funniest part of this is the cheap-looking Avengers masks. And so, who better to make those than Mark? Burger King. Fun time, got these red masks that Mark made, and I'm gonna let you guys fight over who's who's.
I don't know. I love them. I can understand. People don't know this, but in New York, there are no numbers on the ATM machine. 10 boxes.
Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man shoots behind the scenes.
Hi, everybody. These aren't the real Avengers. They may look like it with their guns and their ATM machine, but they'll be full.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, you want to see this? Mark is unbreakable. He's the Hulk.
Yes. I don't look like Tony Stark. Oh.
We've got Deadpool standing in for Spider-Man upside down. Mark is holding the Deadpool head. And Ryan is actually standing next to Mark, and he's reaching his back arm down to be Spider-Man hand. So we just finished shooting the ATM stuff with everybody standing upright. So now we're going to lay everything on the ground and have our actors lay on the ground. I'm going to shoot it from above so it looks like he's upside down. Action. Great. Here we have our Coney Island beach setup, Ferris wheel way in the background, and that's actually the Captain America with some Christmas lights on it.
Nice out here. Kind of smoky.
Yeah, Coney Island's on fire back there, though. Doing the vulture shots, and Mark made the wings out of cardboard.
This is gonna be wings. We're making wings. I can smell them.
The helmet is a motorcycle helmet, spray painted black, and put some neon eyes out of construction paper on there. And he's wearing Star-Lord's chest piece. This shot, Mark made a 2D backdrop with a hole cut in it, spray painted it gold, and drew all the details on. And then he made a tiny scale vulture with some cardboard wings and some of those finger raver lights that we have. We've done Spider-Man before, and so we have a mini Spider-Man, and he's pretty articulated, so we're just shooting a bunch of miniature shots with him. This is a pretty elaborate setup that we have here. We have a helicopter in the foreground, so I have it attached to a PVC pipe, which is attached to a tripod. And then the ground is some sheets that I laid down, and we've got some army guys and some Hot Wheels and stuff. So Mark is operating Spider-Man, and he just pulls on the strings and his arms open. We're looking up at the so I made some cardboard pieces with some straw details to create the underside, and I'm gonna shoot this straight up because there's G.I. Joes standing on the top, so we have our sky clipped to the ceiling, and I'm shooting from underneath.
Sorry.
Set up on the wire, and then we use some yarn to create the web. What? RoboCop's not helping. Columbia logo, so I'm using her. Really not much else that happens in it other than the water flowing. So Mark is going to be operating the smoke machine too. Final shot of the trailer, we've got Iron Man and Spider-Man flying. So we made a cardboard skyline, some cardboard buildings, and I have a toy Iron Man that we've used many times, and he's on some fishing string. Yeah. And of course our Spidey is on a coat. My school, Spider-Man, my neighbor, Spider-Man. Why are you treating like a kid? God! To go up in my room. So these are blue, but these belong to my wife in 2016. I think they're quite stylish. Dazzled. You have Spidey modeling summer spider suits, good for crime fighting and jumping. Red one Spider-Man. Ow! Alright, see there. And that is how we made it. Thank you for watching. If you could check out those links below to see our video, as well as the side-by-side comparison with the original trailer. Don't forget Homemade Movies, first Tuesday of every month, so subscribe. Oh,
Experts. Cosplay and DIY. Masters of duct tape, cardboard, and hot glue. They are DIY costumes.
what's up? I'm Benjamin, and today I'm going to be making a first order stormtrooper from Star Wars The Force Awakens, and it's going to be made out of cardboard and some random miscellaneous household stuff that I got. So let's get a picture front and back, head to toe of a stormtrooper suit. It's definitely going to be pretty simple. And then it's just white cardboard pieces on top. I think I'm going to make them mostly out of cardboard. Helmet's going to be the big one. Make sure I get it right. And then blasters, got a couple options for the blasters and the rifle that he has. So the very first thing is going to be the clothes. Okay, so first thing is a pair of black sweatpants. Got these for $3 at a discount clothing store. I got a black turtleneck, same deal. It was about $3, I think, at Goodwill. He has kind of some ribbed texture, so I have this dress. I'm going to end up that up and using it in pieces throughout the suit. I got some gloves. These are black work gloves from the 99 cent. And finally, I have some dress shoes. I couldn't find any that were white, but I got these ones. Have a good. I got them for about $6 at Goodwill. But I do have to mask off the soles because those remain black. First, I'm going to lay down some gray primer. That's going to just kind of prepare this material to get painted white. So while the shoes are drying, I'm going to move on to a little bit of detail we got to get for the clothes. So I have this dress, and I'm going to cut it up. So I'm just going to glue them right to the joints so that those are what's going to be seen through the. Okay, so I'm finished up with the base clothes. Moving on to the guns, we have a handgun blaster, and then I'm going to make one of the rifle blasters. And I'm going to use a toy blaster that I got at the 99-cent store, and it looks pretty Star Warsy as is. Got to play with it at least once. And then I have a toy gun here. It's a little bigger. Do some modifications to it, but just a few. I have a toy walkie-talkie here that I'm going to glue on the top. And then on top of that, I have a ninja. So I'm applying masking tape to the blasters in all the areas that I want to remain white because I'm going to then spray paint them black. Now these aren't the right shapes, but they're close. And so I'm going to use some liberty with the details so that I get the right style. Next step is going to be figuring out the body armor. Here, that's a big piece of cardboard. You're going to make the chest piece first. So what I'm doing here is I'm bending the cardboard along the corner. If you notice, it has like an edge bend to it anyway. As I'm making this, that I need to put it on my body, kind of measure it to how it fits, take it off, do some cutting, some alterations, because it is a very snug fitting piece. Got the back piece here, and then the front piece starting to look like something. Yeah, my head doesn't fit. That's cool. I'm gonna have to put a seam down the back. That's so tiny. Wow. Back seam closed. I'm going to be using some clips off these luggage straps that I got at the 99-cent store. And now it's time to put some of the details on. It has like little clips on each side, so I'm going to be using clothespins for those. I got the 99-cent store. I always like to try to use actual things to make the detail rather than just drawing it on. I feel like it gives it a little bit more texture. So this line work detail, I'm going to be doing with tiny strips of tape. You can use tape or kind of tape both and spray paint them. It'll show that detail. So there's pouches. I'm going to be using these little plastic containers that I have. And I also have some EVA craft foam that I'm probably going to use for some of the details. I'm working on this back piece. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but tube shape, but there's another box element to it. I think I'm going to use this index card case I got at the 99-cent store. Okay, so for the shoulders, I have pet food scoops for 99 cents. Just going to chop off the handles. So that's it for the shoulder pieces, but I'm going to attach them right to the chest piece so that it's all 1 minute. I'm just going to zip tie it. I'm going to move on to the biceps, and these are going to be plastic containers. So once these are painted, then I can zip tie them to the shoulder pieces. Moving on to the forearms, I'm going to be making those out of cardboard. Something to keep in mind is this is all going to get spray painted over, so feel free to use whatever miscellaneous stuff you have to get the details in there. The forearms are ready to be painted, but before I do that, I'm going to change it up and move on to the belts. There's a second belt that he has. I got this belt at the 99-cent store, and again, I'm using some plastic containers I got at the 99-cent store. I actually have this little tin, Star Wars tin, that I'm going to put in there as an Easter egg. I'm going to need to paint these white before I attach them to the belt. Black bag. I got this as a dark blue. Dry. I'm going to make the cod piece out of this plastic container. So here's the cod piece, and it's going to attach on like that. But first, I got to paint it white. While that's drying, I'm going to move on to the what I got from the 99-cent store. It's got pretty good butt cupping. This is a first for me. I'm actually going to put the buckle to the side. Right, so I can attach the boxes onto the front, and then I still have access to the belts. So that's done. I think we're going to move on to the legs. What I'm going to do is kind of get a measurement of my thigh. I'm going to use some cardboard, much in the way that I did the arm pieces. So I did one piece, and now I'm going to trace it onto another piece of cardboard. So I have two other pieces. I'm going to use the same technique I did with the thighs. Shin pieces are way too skinny for me to put my foot through, so I'm going to have to leave them cut in half, and I'm going to use these buckles from the dog collars to and they have like these spats on the legs, so very specific shape. So once I have this shape figured out in the paper, then I'm going to use that as a template to transfer cardboard or whatever material I decide to use. So the legs are all finished up, and the last part for the body armor is going to be the hands, the gloves. There's a little piece on the top of the hand, which is going to be the boy's shoulder. Last two pieces are ready to get spray painted along with the rest of the costume, so let's head outside for spray paint. I don't even know where to start. All of the pieces are painted white. There's some black details on both areas, so I'm going to just do those with some black tape and some. Mechanism on his right thigh to hold his blaster in place, and what I have is a door lock. It's a chain door lock. What I'm going to do is attach the base piece onto the thigh, and then the knob will get attached to the hand blaster. So I'm pretty stoked because I've had the idea to do this with a door lock for a long time, and I just have never had the opportunity, so now I get to try it out. All of the pieces are done, the blaster's done, and it's of course not a stormtrooper without the helmet. It's pretty simple as far as the materials go. I have some foam sheets. This is EVA foam. I got some white and some black. Our handy dog collars. Got some mesh fabric. This is also from the 99-cent store. And then this is a noise maker. At the 99-cent store. I'm going to be using this to create like the lip on the bottom because there is kind of a fat lip on the bottom. This is a helmet I got. It's a soldier helmet, I think. I do have this here mesh. Tiny, and that might work for the goggles. I'm not sure, but we will play around with it when we get there. Before I start adding too much to this, I want to get this chin strap in place. I'm going to take care of that right away. It's the saddest of the memories. So what I'm going to do is make a whole helmet out of cardboard them and then add stuff to it to create the shapes. Still down, I can't see anything. Alright, I know it's looking pretty wacky right now, but once the phone gets on there, it'll fill in all this contour. It'll look pretty awesome. Bottom, there's a black mesh material, and that's going to be this, and I'm going to put the white elements on top of that. I'm using a scrap piece of foam that I have so that I can make a template, so I'm trying to get the eye shape just right. Now I'm going to be putting the white foam on top of all of this helmet. I thought I could wing it, so I had to take all that stuff off, and I'm going to need to make templates. I'm going to be doing those templates with some construction paper. Part of the tricky thing with helmets is the temperature, and so there's a kind of a technique that you can cut of paper like that or material, and then you can fold it in and help you create that curve. As I go along, I'm numbering these so that I can remember what order they go in. I really want to leave it like this, so that it was awesome, but there are no rainbow stormtroopers in Star Wars, at least not yet. So I'm going to have to take all this stuff off and then trace them onto my phone sheet. My stormtrooper is ready to go, and now it's time to attach them to.
Sorry, guys. Hold on.
Helmet all wrapped with white foam, and now it's time to put on some of the details. Just going to use some Sharpie and some black tape. Stormtrooper helmet all wrapped in white foam, and I think everything is ready to go. So I'm going to go and get some. I think I gotta call one of the squad members. Who's been help? Oh, you help? And so it's like on the inside. Yeah, I did it. Yeah, all right, let's go. I am insanely happy with the way this turned out, and I can't wait to show it. All right, can't wait to see the finished stormtrooper costume. Ready?
Super excited, yeah.
Hey, where's he?
Where is he?
Yeah.
Hey, wow.
Is he a good guy or a bad guy? Yes, he's a bad guy.
Are you a little like long haired to be a stormtrooper?
I'm the rebel stormtrooper. Little plastic containers so you can keep your goodies for lunch. Function. My favorite part is the butt plate back there.
Yeah. I really love the butt plate.
How secure is this? Guns are awesome. The guns are just nerfed.
Looks fantastic.
So how much did you end up spending on this whole thing?
The whole costume was about $35, $40, which was mostly my helmet, which was about $15. Most of it's cardboard, which is totally free. So
That's amazing.
Cardboard and plastic.
wraps up Costume Squad season 1. We're gonna be back real soon, but it'll give you guys some time to think about that's what I let us know in the comments.
Yeah, be sure and subscribe. We've got lots of cool video content to help you over in the meantime.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you soon.
See you soon. All right, move along. Move along. Okay. Yep.
Cardboard and cosplay. They are DIY costumes.
Hey, welcome to the show. I'm Dustin, and with me today is Ben. You know Ben, Costume Squad. He was in season 1 of Costume Squad. You're no stranger to tons of big, epic cardboard builds from Homemade Movies and Costume Squad. I especially love your power loader that you made in Homemade Movies. That thing is so amazing. I'm looking forward to another big cardboard craziness.
That's good.
What are you making?
I've got a ton of cardboard because today I'm going to be making a homemade Optimus Prime.
Yes. Optimus Prime is going to be so good. We wore a matching t-shirts just for this.
No coincidence.
So, what do you think you're going to do to tackle this? Ooh.
That's cardboard. Yeah, I'm going for the 80s Optimus Prime over the new Michael Bay one just because the 80s one is just so kind of iconic.
Luckily, it's very boxy to begin with.
Yeah, I think I'm going for like real simplified shapes just to make it simple for people doing it at home.
I'm looking forward to seeing how this comes together. It's going to be awesome. So I'll get out of your hair.
All right, roll out.
Good luck.
Okay, first thing we're going to do is the body, and I'm going to make that entirely out of some cardboard boxes. I have all over here. Look at all these boxes. Kind of I've picked out a few shapes. I'm going to see how they look on my body and get the right ones. So the first part, there's like, well, you can look at my shirt here. There's the
section. Yeah, so it's pretty snug. I'm gonna close all these gaps up and just make it a little sturdier. I'm sort of thinking about this torso in three pieces. We've got the middle, which I have on right now. Then I'm going to make the chest piece, which goes up on top, and then there's a little piece that goes around on the bottom. I found the box for the top part, and I'm going to center it onto our base here and trace it out so I can cut a hole. Oh, Amazon Prime, Optimus Prime, get it? Just eyeballing a square from my head. I have a hole cut for my head, and I'm going to need to cut some holes on the side for my arms. Little actual building as possible in terms of cutting and measuring and stuff, so you can just get boxes and start putting them together. There's one person who can tackle these big giant cardboard builds, it's Ben. And I'm a huge Optimus Prime fan, so I'm really excited for this one. So now I need the shoulder pieces, which stick out from the sides here. You can start to see it coming into shape there. So I'm going to hold these shoulder pieces up with some zip ties. So I'm going to need to poke a hole through the shoulder pieces. But we're going to be painting all of this, so I'm going to hold off on putting it all together. Let's just 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'm going at like an angle. There. Okay, as you can clearly see, we have realized that I need a little bit more room for my arms, so I'm going to cut out basically the armpit area. Let's see how this works now. Oh, yeah. My work here is done. Yes. There are some details on here. There's like the grill, and then there's the bottom section, which are different. So I'm going to do those, but I'm not going to attach them to this body. On the midsection, there is a silver strip that's kind of tapered in, so that's what I'm working on right now. Stick time. For the belt part, that's actually white. I'm going to start drawing that right on here, and then I'll start making the pieces off of that. This belt piece is raised up from the body just a little bit, so I'm going to fill in this gap with pieces of cardboard. All of the pieces for the chest are done, and I'm going to hold off on painting these because I want to move on and do the entire body first. So we're going to move on to the arms. I was going to leave the back sides open, but my arm actually slides through the holes pretty well, so I'm going to go ahead and close the back sides. Forearm pieces, I have this big piece which I'm going to cut in half, which is just going to cover from my wrist up to my elbow. Now I want to cover up this end right here. Then I'll cut a hole out of that for my hand. Alright, let's do some legs. I'm going to start with the big pieces on the bottom of the feet. They go all the way up to above the knees, so we're going to have to actually make these out of some bigger pieces. Up above the knee, like that. Alright, so I have 2 of these boxes, which I'm going to use for the feet. Got feet, big feet. Now we're going to do the thighs, which are pretty simple. Okay, alright, looking awesome. A big old pile of boxes. These are all different colors, so they're all marked, and I'm going to wait to spray paint them because I'm going to move on to the helmet. Helmet is going to be awesome. Alright, can't wait to see it. So, So for the helmet, I'm going to need to start off with a base, and I have a dollar store helmet. It's smaller, and then I can build off of it, and the helmet doesn't get too big. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make like a mohawk piece that goes from the front all the way around to the back. Again, we're just using all cardboard for this attack.
Keep watching me, y'all.
Trace the top of the
Turn me a
helmet
card
onto
because
the
I'm
top.
trying to show y'all.
That to fill in the top of the helmet. Side pieces, there's two L kind of shaped pieces that start from the top and then go to the jaw. So as you can see, I'm eyeballing the shapes here. I also have this little toy. It helps me get a 3D angle on it. There's a thickness to these pieces. I'm going to make a bunch of pieces and then just give some depth to these pieces. So put a piece on here before I put the side pieces on. So you can see there's some gaps between the helmet and the side pieces. So I'm going to put some cardboard inside here just to act as filler. Yeah. The basic shape here is all coming together, and now I'm going to add, there's another L shape which goes up a little higher, and it's kind of an antenna looking type deal. It does have these circular elements on the sides, and I found these little party bees. These were $1. So I'm going to use these because they're kind of the perfect shape. So this is the blue helmet, and then there is the mouthpiece and the eye pieces, which are silver. So I'm going to make those separately, and then I'll spray paint them before I attach it. So all the silver pieces first. Silver. It helps to lay down a primer, so I have a gray primer. These are $4 a can. Over time, these are a little bit more expensive. They're $6 a can. Red, $4 a can. Blue now, these are $3 a can.
The most exciting part right now, watching these colors go onto these cardboard boxes, because it's really turning into Optimus Prime right before our eyes.
Now for the gloves, you could find some blue gloves, you could find some big puffy winter gloves. I wasn't able to find any in time for the shoot, but I do have these work gloves that I'm going to spray paint blue. Alright, this is all painted, we're ready for details. First thing I want to do is I'm going to put these silver bits on. Of course, Optimus Prime has the windshield on his chest, so we're going to add those with some blue construction paper. Well, I just want to make a little window frame for these pieces, so I'm going to use cardboard. I'm going to hit these frames with some silver spray paint. One more detail is the windshield wipers. I'm going to use popsicle sticks. I'm looking forward to this little detail, the entire build. There are a few yellow and blue details for the belt. He has these exhaust pipes on his shoulders, so we're going to make those. And I'm going to use a poster tube. Got our exhaust pipes on, and of course, we got to put the Autobot logo. So I printed out a Autobot logo. This turned out to be 5.5 inches. It'll probably be different depending on what size your shoulder piece is. A really good technique for transferring this onto the shoulder is to flip it around, put it face down. I like to use a piece of charcoal, and what you do is you just rub it right on the back of the image. Set this down now with the charcoal side down. So you're just going to trace the logo, and what's happening is you're pressing down on the paper and transferring charcoal onto the cardboard. I always want to keep a hand on it so it doesn't slide around, because if it moves around then it throws off the transfer. Now that the transfer is done, I'm going to use a white paint marker. You could paint it with a paintbrush and acrylics. These paint markers.
I appreciate the amount of detail you're putting into our logo. There are some yellow details on the forearms. I'm going to do those with duct tape. And I'm going to move on to the legs. On the front, on his shins, he has some exhaust. There are some details on the toes. I'm going to use construction paper and duct tape to make. I'm going to move on to some of the details on the side, like another pipe and the tires. I have some cans here I'm going to use. I'm going to spray paint these silver. It's primed in the truck, and trucks have wheels. I'm going to use this duct tape as a trace to make our cardboard wheels. Add some thickness onto these tires. I'm thinking about 2 inches. Okay, 3 more to go. 4 tires, all ready for paint. Alright, time to put on tires and the cans. That's it for the body. It's time to finish up the helmet. The only thing to do for the helmet are the eye pieces, and I'm going to use some plastic notebook dividers. Got these at the 99-cent store. This front piece is actually silver, and instead of making a silver cardboard piece, I'm going to just cut it. Right, got the eyepieces on, and I'm going to put the mouthpiece on. And everything is done. It's time to put this whole thing together. We are going to be using some zip ties to put some of the pieces on. I think we're ready to transform. Shoulders. There we go. Can you scratch my nose? Yeah, right there. Time to show off the whole costume. Okay, it's time to see the full Optimus Prime. I'm so excited for this. Yes. Hello, Optimus. How are you?
This is the greatest thing ever. Should I try to extract Ben from this? Yeah, great job on this. This is freaking amazing.
So it's so colorful. It's like cartoon come to life. I went for the really simple, like kind of more boxy looking cartoon flavor. You could add way more details and get crazy with it.
Dance a little bit more. That's really awesome. How much did you end up spending on this?
Fucking well. The helmet was $1.
2,
The notebook dividers were $1.
3.
Oh, and the little frisbees on the side, that was another $1.
Frisbees.
So
Okay,
that's
so
$4.
$4.
The majority of this costume was all in the paint.
Basically, with the paint and everything, we're looking at like maybe.
Cardboard I got totally free, and we used this costume in our homemade Transformers trailer, so make sure to check it out and see the family in action.
That's right. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us, Ben. This was awesome.
I got thrown out.
I'll figure out.
That's it. Okay.
Air Max. Cosplay and DIY. Masters
I'm Benjamin. Welcome to Costume Squad. Cardboard and miscellaneous household stuff I got because today I'm going to be making a costume from the original 1987
one of my favorite movies, and I can't wait to tackle this costume. So the first thing I noticed is there are a lot of specific shapes, which I'm going to probably end up using cardboard and spray paint the clothes and the base, and then elements. So that's what I got. I went shopping, got a bunch of different things, different options. I have this tan shirt, so that's tan leggings, and leggings are always really good because they're very form fitting. These are super these for floors. Gloves. Now all of the tan parts I think are going to be his skin. He does have some fingerless gloves, which are going to be his brown ones. And now he has like this fishnet material all over his body. Brown sun. This is brown, but I'm going to spray paint it black. A little fancy cuts here, which I'm going to spray paint brown. He does have a brown bag. This looks exactly like the right shape. First thing I have to do is I want to spray paint all of these under. I have different colors, browns, and some sort of greens. I'm going to be creating the reptilian alien skin that he has. This black was 99 cents. That's why I have a fence. It has this neck piece which looks like a rubbery material. I have this black burlap sack, rugged texture to it, looks pretty cool. And basically just cutting a scarf out of this one. Brown fingerless gloves, so all I gotta do is cut the fingers off these ones. I'm going to be using this bathrobe shirt thing I got for $4 at Goodwill. Just going to cut up the shapes, and then I'm going to attach it to a belt that I got at the 99-cent store. I'm kind of cutting this rough so that it looks a little rugged on the edges. Elementary school Thanksgiving play. I'm going to do the back piece, aka the butt. And then for the belt buckle, I'm using a piece of cardboard, maybe some aluminum foil tape. Pretty shiny, so I'm going to hit this with some black spray paint, and the details are going to be put on black. This is done. Time to move on to the sandals, which I found at Goodwill for like $3. They have this pebbly design, which I'm going to cover up with cardboard and some aluminum foil. So the gloves are going to dry, and the fingernails, which are going to be the handles of black plasticware. Just cut those off and glue them right to the finger. Yeah. I'm going to be using cardboard and some plastic containers. I'm going to start with the shoulder. A lot of this armor I'm going to make out of cardboard because the shapes are so specific that it's easier to just cut them. So here I have the left shoulder finished up, and it's the other shoulder is a little bit more simple. Now I'm going to do the chest piece, which starts in the front and then goes all the way around to the back, so everything's going to attach to that. You know, I actually have these knight pieces. These are from the 99-cent store. For the chest piece, I'm going to make each section out of cardboard and then glue those right to the chest piece. I add in the details using washers, tape, maybe some clothespins, toothpicks, whatever happens to look good. Okay, so there's a box on his shoulder. The gun sticks out. I'm going to use this packaging thing from a hard drive. There's like a cylinder or something on his back. So I'm going to do it in pieces. I'm going to do a gun, and I have a bunch of random stuff. I got all from the 99-cent store. I've got a 20 I might use, and then a jump rope, a garden hose nozzle set, and a bike mirror. There we go. And that's what I want. That's it for the gun, and it looks kind of like a bird or something right now, but he's gonna get painted up. So I have all this extra stuff. I'm just gonna glue it to the backpack to give it some more detail because I have it. I might as well use it, right? So already the gun is finished up. It's time to move on to the gauntlets, and I'm gonna be using megaphones. Got these at the 99-cent store. So this is my box of guns, and I know I have some toy walkie-talkies in here. That would be perfect. Blades, I have a cracked foam. This is a little bit thicker, and I'm just going to cut the blades out of this material and spray paint it silver. All this stuff's ready for paint, and so I'm going to move on to the crack piece. I actually don't know what this piece is called. Crack Predator Protector. Let's see. All right. Woo! All right. Moving on to the thighs, and those are going to be cardboard panels, sort of a scale shape on each side. Onto the chin pieces, I'm going to do these a little bit differently with some plastic containers. I actually have a football that's going to be pretty cool for the back leg, and then some cardboard pieces. Okay, all my body pieces are done. I'm going to do the helmet first and then paint everything at the same time. So I have this psych helmet. I think I got it for like $2 or $3 at Goodwill. Oh, it's so comfy too. As well as this stirring platter that might be a good treatment for the head. The top of the head is really specific. Now I have my skeletal structure on this base, and I'm going to be wrapping it with craft foam. These are the thin sheets, and they are 89 cents a piece. Helmet is all done. The stuff is all going to get covered, so we're not worried about it, but everything's ready for paint. So I want to cover everything with a gray primer, and this was about $4. And I'm going to be covering it all with a metallic silver. A little more expensive. I think this was like $6. I'm doing a layer of silver. Alright, this guy is ready to go almost. A new hair. Nothing Predator without the iconic dreads. So to make those, I'm going to be using some malleable and then some gold duct tape. Threads thicker, I'm quadrupling the rope together, and then I'm going to wrap them entirely with electrical tape. And then the gold details are the gold duct tape. And it looks like I'm going to need a whole bunch of these things, so I'm going to get to work. Okay, all the Threads are done. My hands are a little sore. It was a lot of them, but I think we're ready to put it on. That I want to add the laser scope. And I'm going to use a little flashlight I got from the 99-cent store. I'm going to cover up the flashlight with a red notebook divider. And using duct tape, I'm going to cut out 3 little holes. I put it in the flashlight. It's going to create 3 little lasers. So this is a couple of pieces. I'm going to be putting this on the flashlight so that I can take it on or off with the batteries. So for a starting place, I know it has threads all along there, using glue and some tape, and I'm going to fill in the whole back. Alright, so I think this guy is looking pretty sweet. The only thing left is the eyes. So to do that, I'm going to use a mesh material that I got off of a jersey.
Sorry guys, it in the slash room tonight, so catch y'all later. Peace, y'all.
There are certain elements I had to hold off on
Batman.
until I got to this point, like there's some
Iron Man.
chest piece that I had. Sorry.
News. Can't wait. You know, that's all I want to know. Alright, good. Charge my laptop. Peace. Batman and Iron Man.
Everything is done.
Shut
and
up,
it's time
sir.
to assemble
Oh,
the whole costume.
sorry for my
The shirt
laptop.
and pants on, they're very tight and very to the actual shirt. Always zip ties. Greatest thing ever.